And we're back. We are back. Next question from Will. The truth is hard to believe for some. He asks, is there a presidential candidate that atheists should vote for? Politics is a cluster fuck that will lead to zero satisfaction. It is literally a game of picking the lesser of two evils. And the answer to the question is the Democrats. Pick the Democrat. That is the system we have. Any other choice is insane. It doesn't even matter. Pick the Democrat. You could waste your vote on a Ralph Nader or some third-party chump who tries to just get a moral victory, but it literally is pointless. So just vote for the Democrat and get on with your life. Next, hey Rue, what do you think is going to be the final outcome with this jihadist bullshit? Do you think they will ever come to their senses, or do you think it will take a major war, like a modern-day crusade? I hope they come to their senses, but I wouldn't hold my breath. What do you think about a preemptive strike before they develop some biological or something horrible like that? I know in TYT's eyes we are bad, but those crazy fucks would not hesitate to use a horrible weapon on us. I don't think that they will concern themselves with innocent civilians. I wonder if this shit will hit the fan in our lifetime. I remember growing up and the Soviets were the bad guys, but this feels different. Yeah, it's a very real threat. If these jihadists get access to, look at what happened when jihadists got access to bombs. There was a time where nobody knew how to make a bomb. An IED, there was no improvised explosive device. You just couldn't do it. Now that information is readily available, and what are they doing with it? They're doing the worst thing possible. It's like, imagine what we did before we had control over fire. We didn't know how to make fire. Well, now we do know how to make fire. What's the worst thing you could do with fire? Burn somebody alive? Yeah, that's pretty much the worst. Well, that happened this year, multiple times. Muslims have done that. What do the Palestinians do? Well, they have no technology. They have barely any weapons, the people in the streets. What do? So they pick up a rock. What's the worst thing you can do with a rock? Throw it at somebody's head. Try to bash somebody's head in with that rock. That's what they do with the rock. If they had anything more than that, they would use it. As far as a first strike, now you're just getting into global war games, and it's just, what are you going to do? Just take out all people who hold these horrible ideas? No, you got to deal with it on a nation-to-nation level, or each terrorist group individually, or just black ops. Just black ops these motherfuckers. We have militaries. We have intelligence agencies. Get together with MI6, Mossad, the CIA, and send those boys over there. I'm talking about snipers and night vision goggles, the whole deal. Kill who you gotta kill. I am in favor of it. That is a proactive way to go about this. And if one of those countries act up and actually do something, then it's going to be lights out for them. It's Betty Bye time. And the rest of the world should pay attention to what happens. It's like when Japan tried to get cute and surprise attack us in Pearl Harbor. I think the rest of the world sort of took a note to self. America doesn't like being attacked. We thought they were all fat, lazy capitalists. Turns out they got pretty amped up and they're pretty warlike. You don't want to antagonize them. I think it would be an unbelievable, symbolic, legendary beatdown if one of these nations decides to commit an act of war against us or one of our allies. Look what happened at 9/11. 9/11, you have a relatively small group of people who attacked us, and what do we do in return? We basically just shot our load for about 15 years. It was just a hail of bullets. It was a shock and awe campaign that is shocking and awesome to witness how much money we just burned, how many people we killed, just pointless stuff. But there was a lot of rage there. They really uncorked an animal. Eric Connor asks, although most of your videos focus on the West, I'd actually be interested in your take on the influence and impact of Islam in other regions of the world, specifically where there is not a Muslim majority. For instance, you could do a video on Islam in Russia or China, India, Burma, or to a lesser extent Latin America or Korea and Japan. I'd like to see a video about the Uyghur Muslim violence in Xinjiang, China. Oh, wow, can you believe I just tried to read Xinjiang? The word starts with an X, and I just barreled through that. Or the Rohingya Muslim minority of Burma and their fight with the Buddhist religious minority. Yeah, I am going to be doing a video on the Burma situation, which is classic because AJ Plus sent a reporter down there and he got totally owned by this Buddhist monk who is like calmly, matter-of-factly saying, we are not violent terrorists. We are reacting to the violence of the Muslims. They are the ones that are totalitarian and fascist and want to take everything over. We are reacting and defending ourselves from the Muslim bullshit. We want to be sitting here meditating. That's our normal day. The Muslims have been fucking committing crimes and raping and burning our people. So it is a beautiful thing. I saw an article recently about Islam in Japan and how it's not a problem at all. There is no problem of Islamic extremism or jihadism in Japan. And do you know why? Because they don't let Muslims into their country. It is as simple as that. They literally have flagged this as a major concern, and that is why Japan is an amazing country and is thriving. When I was living in Tokyo, I was completely impressed by the place. The place is charming beyond all belief. They care about their citizens deeply, and the place is filled. The currency there is respect and honor. You go there, you feel ashamed at how much respect you get by default. It's unbelievable. In Latin America, having lived in Buenos Aires and Rio, I will tell you that it is also not a problem there. Why? Because the continental drift. Those lucky bastards down there severed themselves from Africa in what was a smart move from the Argentinians. They must have used large crowbars, and they said, let's get the F out of here because Africa is fucked beyond belief, and let's get away from those goddamn Muslims. And what did? They floated away peacefully. And what is there in Rio? No Muslims. And what is there in Buenos Aires? No Muslims. And that is why you do not hear about Muslims going crazy and killing cartoonists in those regions. They got their own problems, they got crime, but they don't have the same religious fanaticism that the Muslims have so generously spread around the world. As for Russia and China, yeah, it's a mess. The Chechnya videos are shocking. What's happening in China? Who knows what's happening in China? I mean, that place is a black hole of information. I'm sure there are ways to ascertain that. None of it will be in English, so it will be not that compelling, but I might keep an eye out for that. And as for India, yeah, I mean, India, I've touched on the terrorist attacks in 2008 in India, but the Indians cannot stand the Muslims. And you know what's amazing? I was sitting there, I was in a train the other day with my girlfriend, and there were some Indians on the train. And they had some cute kids, and you know, there's some Indians here in Germany. There are Indians everywhere. They're in every country, right? And does anybody have a problem with Indians? These Hindus. I have never heard, I'm talking personally or publicly, of anybody having a problem with Indians. They are beloved. They are friendly. They are loving. They create good food. They have their families. They have their religion, but it doesn't get in your way. They're not trying to take over you. If I draw a picture of an elephant, they're not going to come and hunt me down and kill me. Indians are like, by comparison to Muslims, it is so shocking how little problems they cause. Oh my God. It's just, when you juxtapose it next to the Muslims, it makes you reaffirm just how much you should say, fuck Muslims. Fuck them. Moving on. Hello, Rue. This is from Amanda Garcia. I hope you get a chance to answer or acknowledge my question. What's our most optimal solution to combat PC liberals? Well, it's death camps. That's a bold statement, but a lot of people won't go there. But in lieu of that, let's say you want to tone it down and just go with Plan B. Plan B is to publicly shame and mock them. Just ruthlessly mock them. Shove their face in their own bullshit. Like I'm trying to do. These people do not get away with it. If one of your friends posts some shit on Facebook and says something like, oh, all the Islamophobia, or why can't we all just get along? Some nonsensical hippy-dippy crap. Don't let them. Acknowledge that they are wrong. Confront them. Confront them. It's bullshit. That's what I say. How do you get anybody? PC liberal bullshit is just another bad idea, just like religion is a bad idea. What we should do is get into a long line, like they did in the movie Airplane, and slap them. Individually, we each slap them in the face and try to knock some sense into them. Now, we cannot do that, so we have to do it verbally and with ideas. We try to eradicate and smash their ideas, show them the error of their ways, perform satire, mock them openly, insult them, which is not an ad hominem, for the billionth time. Insult them justifiably. That's my suggestion. Okay, next. My mom is a Christian, despite claiming she isn't religious, and I've been trying to get her to just stop, but she refuses and gets overly upset over the smallest things related to her beliefs, whilst refusing to listen to reason. What should I do? Yeah, I mean, you gotta chip away. You gotta chip away at the parents' belief system. You gotta just challenge them to support the validity of their claims. Or just drop a little nugget here or there. Just send her a link to my Sam Harris videos. Point out the absurdity of religion at every corner. I mean, point out her own hypocrisy. This is a course of action a lot of people don't want to take because, I don't know, they value their relationship with their parents. I understand these things get diplomatic and problematic because you don't want to sever and burn bridges. But I don't care. See, here's the thing. I don't care. Like, I've already severed all the bridges in my life that needed to be severed. So I'm not like tiptoeing around and being like, oops, let's not talk about that with this person. No, fuck that. I outed myself on Facebook and now I'm somewhat more public and it's a known fact. You Google my name, you're going to get a lot of atheism shit. So, and not just like passive atheism, it like aggressive anti-theism, like grabbing my balls, flicking off the world kind of stuff. So I'm it's too late for me. But the thing about what's great online is that you have no social ties to these people. These are virtual strangers. Literally, they're strangers who don't even exist in your sphere. They're outside of you're never going to see these people. There's no reason to be politically correct. Say what you feel. State your mind. You have to ask yourself what's more important, letting your mother carry on her sweet delusion that she gets to live forever and be nurtured by the daddy in the sky, or would you rather that she live in accordance with reality and acknowledge the stupidity of her belief system and the erroneous nature of it? If that's important to you, then I would say chip away. If not, then let bygones be bygones and move on to other things. What do you think the best way for the West to handle Islam is? I think public discourse. The public discourse must change. An honest assessment of this. We cannot be having debates of shit like, is Islam a religion of peace? That cannot be the talking point. The conversation has to be advanced to, we all know the doctrines of Islam. We all agree that they are immoral and a threat to everything that humans hold to be dear. Modern humans, civilized humans. The lines are drawn in the sand. Literally in the sand of Saudi Arabia, the lines have been drawn. It's on one side, it is the camel piss drinking, violent pedophiles who are literally insane. And the other side, it's the enlightened people. It couldn't be more night and day. That's the issue. So the pussies of Australia need to recognize that. The flagrant pussies of Canada need to acknowledge that. The kumbaya singing motherfuckers of America need to wake up. The people in Europe are waking up. The people in Sweden need to be euthanized because they are so far gone, it's ridiculous. No, Pegida is not insane radical right-wing Nazis. No, the EDL was not wrong. Tommy Robinson is not a racist. The Reclaim Australia movement is totally reasonable. You cannot just sit there and vilify and start barking about how you don't like racism. This is garbage. This is guilt-riddled garbage. It needs to be flushed down the toilet bowl of history, where it will find itself alongside several other bad ideas that people tried to pass off nobly during their time. This shall not stand. We need Gandalf to get his old ass up and slam his staff down and say, "You shall not pass." That's what needs to happen. On a scale of 1 to 10, how fucked up was Stannis last Sunday? 10 being Hitler, 1 being gentle butterfly. I gotta go 11. I really gotta go 11 on that because, and this is a spoiler alert for Game of Thrones last episode, or 2 episodes ago, the second to the last episode. Spoiler alert. Stannis burned his own daughter at the stake so that he could please the gods and have victory in battle. Hitler never did that. Hitler was boning an attractive blonde woman and loved his dogs. If Hitler had kids, I doubt he would have killed them, although his top generals killed their kids when the war was coming to an end. So yeah, Hitler killed a lot of people and he killed strangers. I think there's a moral difference, though, with burning your own child. I think that the case can be made for that. Side note, most butterflies are anti-Semitic. What is your favorite YouTube channel? I don't really have many YouTube channels that I consistently enjoy their content in a good way. I have more that I hate watch. So I hate watch several Christian channels. The Nigerian psychopath, Christian Taylor, he doesn't make many anymore. There's a lot with hate watching, but without hate watching, Right Wing Watch, they put out a lot of good stuff that's fascinating. It's not like content that I enjoy, it's content that makes me cringe. The guy Counter Arguments is a channel that I just helped promote. He puts out good stuff, but he only has a few videos. The All-Knowing Atheists, the Young Lads, I enjoy watching their content and seeing their progression. Yeah, who else do I have subscribed? Let me see here. Dr. Random Cam, I enjoy this guy. He puts out some funny stuff and goes off on feminists. I like that. Yeah, I'm looking through this list of shit that I have. G-Man is entertaining in the sense that I view his life as a performance art. It's astonishing that he does not know what he's talking about for years on end. Tommy Sotomayor is a new channel I've been watching, this black guy who's calling out black people and the black community for the shit that they so often get away with and never do get called out. And if a white person were to call him out on it, it's about race, it's about race. But because this guy's black, he's allowed to speak the truth. That's pretty entertaining to witness. Now we get to the Actor Studio. Liquid Demons asks, can't go wrong with a pivot questionnaire. Voin. Oh, mais ouais, bien sûr, bien sûr. Number 1, what is your favorite word? What is your favorite word? Auschwitz. No, I'm going to go with shenanigans. Shenanigans. How can you not be into that word? How many times have you used that word in your life? Every time you used it, you were happy you did. And let me tell you, the person that listened to you say it, they were happy you used the word too. Please incorporate it into your day somehow. Shenanigans. What is your least favorite word? Well, I know that for women it's moist. Women do not like the word moist. My least favorite word, jank? No. I'm going to go least favorite, environment. Because I don't think it should have an N. I'm saying ban the N. I think it should be environment. Because that's how I say it. The N in there disturbs me. It plagues me. I don't want to acknowledge the N. I don't want to pronounce it. I don't like it. It's not needed. Just like the G in background. I want it to be background. I'm disturbed by this. But please, let's get the N out of environment. It's not doing anybody any good. Scott from Australia comes in with, why do all superheroes wear their underwear on the outside of their costumes? It is because they are in shape. They are confident, and they are attention-seeking whores. They are promiscuous, they are slutty, and they're just trying to show off. And it turns out people enjoy the human form, especially when it is strong and young and fertile and tight. That's the answer. Yasmina comes in. Thank you for your awesome videos you make. Here are a few questions. What are your views on animal rights, animal welfare? I'm in favor of animal rights. I support what Ricky Gervais does. I am horrified by hunters. I'm horrified by the cruelty to animals, medical testing on animals. I believe we are all part of the same family of life, of biological forms on the planet. I believe a lot of us are hypocritical, including myself, in terms of the arbitrary lines we draw within the animal kingdom as to who we want to protect and are worried about. So spiders, you're shit out of luck. Kittens, you have more value to us. So I recognize that fact. I'm fascinated by the thing which I talked about earlier, which is the fact that dolphins are considered non-human persons. I think that this is a consciousness-raising statement to make and really makes us rethink shit. I think the fight against religion is parallel to the fight for animal rights. I think the mindset that humans are superior, are specially created by God in the likeness of God, and that we're given dominion over the animal kingdom, that's a fucking ancient, idiotic religious thought that is supported and strengthened by religious thinking. And the minute you can eradicate that school of thought, you can take a new, a rational, a moral look at animal rights without being clouded by this ridiculous, out of control narcissism that humans are prone to have, and the religious people have in spades. Who inspires you? The immediate answer for that would be the people in my lineup. They are people I look up to and are inspired by. Majid Nawaz, what he's doing is inspirational, ballsy, and ambitious. I like that. Conor McGregor inspires me. I'm a fan of his. I think he's awesome. I love his bravado, his attitude. He's just like this. He's like a Dublin superhero, just getting showered with success, well-deserved success. I guess you'd have to get sort of more micro, who inspires you in which avenue of your life. Artistically, I'm inspired by a lot of people. I mean, that's the one good thing about the internet. The bad news is you got to deal with idiots in comment threads and stuff. The good news is you get to see what a lot of very talented people are doing out there. So if I see a mashup DJ who has created some new glorious thing, that inspires me. I tap into their creative energy and I try to enhance it, piggyback on it, use it as a launch point to create something of my own. So I'm inspired by just greatness. I don't know if you guys have seen Big Hero 6. I'm a lover of animated films, and what these guys are doing at like Disney, Pixar, all the animation studios right now really is they're really just marvelous masterpieces that are just ridiculously beautiful to behold. So like, The Incredibles or Tangled, these are movies that are just stunning to witness. And the amount of energy and artistry and craftsmanship that go into them is breathtaking. A film like Avatar, again, the same feeling. It is a startling achievement that these people do. And now we're all jaded because we're like, oh yeah, they spent $400 million and took 5 years making this film. Yeah, whatever. I guess I'll take 2 hours of my life to watch it. And you just come to expect it. But meanwhile, they've built these like three-dimensional worlds where, they have the lighting and the textures and the background and the animations and the facial movements and the emotionality that they've captured in the characters and the stories and the vocal performances and the music and the score. It's that to me is incredible. And most great things in the world are collaborative efforts. It's very rare when you get one person doing anything of note. Okay, yeah, you make your little video. You do whatever your little thing is. Meanwhile, the guys at Pixar are going to be pooling together hundreds of millions of dollars and hand-selecting the most talented people on the planet, and they're going to be making something too. So it's almost depressing, and it makes it seem like, what is the point of trying to do anything when these people are just going to blow everybody out of the water with their achievements? It's not a competition, but it does humble you just to be in the presence of people that make stuff like this. I think the one thing that an individual can do that can match anybody on the planet is ideas. So a good idea is a good idea. That is the great equalizer. If you come up with, a parody, a satire, an idea, a joke, some sort of intellectual thought, you can compete with everybody else. There is no limitation with a good idea. There's no overhead. You don't need a team of 100 people. You don't need years to build it. If you have a good idea, you can compete with everybody else that has ever had a good idea. And I like that. Will you ever live debate people? Could be from YouTube, etc. Yeah, I would live debate people. In fact, I've challenged a few people. Some dorks and losers have come to my channel and have disparaged me or said some junk. And what do? I challenge them. I challenge them to a live debate. I say, let's do a Google Hangout, you and me, in front of thousands of people. live. Let me hear you say that to my face, and where I can respond and call you out. And what do? Crickets. They do nothing. They back away and run because they do not want that. They're like, wait a minute, I thought this was the internet. I thought I could just say some shit and just like anonymously and never be called out on it. I didn't realize that the guy who I was talking shit to was going to respond to me and challenge me to a live debate. It happens a lot. You'd be surprised. I would challenge CJ Werleman. I might call him up and be like, CJ, you have called me a white supremacist because I have 90% white people in my lineup. I would like to challenge you on that. I would like to dissect your white guilt. And you tell me what's wrong with the racial makeup of the people that I admire in the atheist community. I want him to tell me why I need to go seek out some Korean atheist, some Eskimo atheist, who don't exist, some Mexican atheist. Name one. I kicked Neil deGrasse Tyson out because he's not an atheist. He does not even claim to... He is an atheist, don't get me wrong, definitionally, but in the most shameful way imaginable, he personally doesn't acknowledge it and doesn't even like to talk about it. Therefore, he is a complete coward and is out of the lineup.